So they won't be able to create the same kind of draft.
10 seconds remaining.
But overall team fight looks really nice for Ehome so far.
5 seconds remaining.
Kunkka Rum, so good at killing Timbersaws too with the X.
Coddle's just gotta wait on his blinding light. In comes the ship, blinding light. They're all out of range. Ah!
Please, we're not talking about your pups, Toby. We're talking about Ehome versus Phoenix.
We've seen some stuff already this tournament, which I have definitely seen in my pubs. But let's not go down that road. So they take out the Morphling, looking at
10 seconds
they don't really have.
remaining.
Well, they have some decent control against the Morphling if Ricky can get to the point of having Diffusal Blade.
5 seconds
Don't know
remaining.
if MVP's going to get that much money on the Ricky in this game.
I think they actually want to fight though. I think Morphling will breed the type of game that MVP Phoenix struggle, which is trying to outfarm and out late game your opponent. MVP's strength is early, mid, fight, not late game.
They might also be worried about, like, if MVP have plan to pick up an Immortal style hero, like if they in fact want to run the same hero you're talking is horrible, like if they want to go an Alchemist and then you start replicating Alchemist, that's going to be a pain in the butt. Who's still in the pool?
Anti-Mage is still in the pool, but I think Anti-Mage is very similar to Morphling. I'm actually surprised to be in the Morphling just because I think there's substitutes to him, and I think Riki's actually pretty good versus both of these heroes, the Morphling and the Juggernaut, because both of them, I guess maybe not so much the Juggernaut, but more so the Morphling. Long duration silences are just incredibly useful versus them, especially when he builds Lincolns and doesn't go for BKB early.
Removes all of the escape mechanisms, or most of them that the Morphling has. That way, just get Lincoln Sphere and say, hey, I'm going to be okay. Alrighty, Ehome, final ban.
Reserve time.
Hard to assume exactly where this Timbersaw will end up, as MVP already showed earlier today.
I think
they will
usually off lane though.
It should be off lane. They definitely had a bit of time with it on the off lane.
I think it should boost their confidence a lot though in running an offlane. It was a tough offlane for the Timbersaw in the Liquid game. He was versus a Keeper and a Neck Assassin. Those two supports can keep him there for a very, very long time.
Especially when he ended up feeding First Blood as well. Oh, not First Blood. It was like the first kill after that bottom rune battle.
Fourth Blood.
Yeah, fourth Blood. Obviously critical. But walking down to the lane. Oh, I got a Swirling Death. I'll be fine. Ow. Alright, Ehome taking some sweet time on their fourth ban here. They took out the Oracle, so there's no, like, quick saving grace for MVP's Timber.
They want the Kunkka X combo to be a guaranteed kill. So, paying some respect to Kyo with the
PA ban.
However, that makes me think that they're going to draft more physical damage, though. I don't know. I don't think that they would have really struggled versus a PA. I think Kunkka and Keeper are both very good at dealing a lot of magic damage to go through her low HP pool. They have very good ways to deal with her mobility, but I don't know. The mana leak isn't particularly good versus the PA. When you blink strike, you don't get your mana reduced unless you blink strike like very, very short range.
The Morphling ban might have actually been linked after all. Alchemist.
Yep, that makes more sense now.
Yeah. Alchemist gets picked up in the third position. So he'll run a 2, which means we get Timber off and we're just missing the safe laner and one extra support for MVP. And now it's Ehome who have to realize they could be playing up against a very heavy stall style game from MVP. Like they're obviously going to hit a nice mark in the mid. You don't have an aggressive really. I wonder if this is a game where you bring in someone like a Slark as well for MVP.
Too slow, I think.
10 seconds remaining.
What would be quicker?
5 seconds.
Let's see. Lifestealer and Juggernaut are already banned. Ember Spirit, I would say. Although Ember, I think struggles a lot versus DP and Kunkka. What is faster? Better.
We get ourselves a Nyx, but that's more than likely going to be a support hero. Unless they're trying something else out.
They're overlapping a lot in invisibility and gank potential. I think there's severe weaknesses in MVP's lineup right now. It's that their team fight is just awful right now.
4 melee heroes underneath everything which Ehome's going to throw. That's what I'm worried about probably the most.
Reserve time.
They have no good way to kill the Death Prophet very easily, and then combine that with the Kunkka boat, like I don't really foresee them dying. But they do have a good run at you lineup. barring the Alchemist, and the pressure is always on the non-Alchemist team to make more things happen in the first 10-15 minutes of the game.
So MVP just chill back. It's like everyone gets an Academ's upgrade, and eventually they'll be able to win the game against Ehome.
They don't have a good way to invade the jungle right now, though.
You're talking about MVP to go into Ehome's jungle or
10
vice versa?
seconds.
Vice versa,
remaining.
to deal with the Alchemist stacks. Ehome unlikely to stack that much. Firstly, because of the Riki, and then secondly, because of
MVP's
the
turn to battle.
Alchemist.
Well, they get themselves a Sand King, so that's at least one way they can slip behind the lines. Really good lane presence from the SK.
And you're against 4 melee heroes, so pretty much whatever lane you're up against, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
Maybe not
remaining.
mid lane so much against Alk, but I don't think it's gonna be a mid Alk from them.
5 seconds.
It looks off,
remaining.
right?
Yeah, when do they play Alk that often?
It's kind of weird though to say like an
Reserve
Alchemist won't go
time.
mid when he has the power of the Bounty Rune with Greed.
Hmm.
It's like your only other option then would be to push the Alchemist into safe lane.
The last time they ran Alchemist, it was a QO mid Alchemist, and they lost.
Great. Fantastic. Who was that up against?
IG Vitality.
That is definitely not a good thing to have on
And
your list.
They were behind in net worth almost the entirety of the game, despite having an Alchemist.
Okay, so I don't want to use that
turn
game
to
as,
bat.
as any kind of reference then, apart from the fact that it went horribly wrong.
But I think more importantly, it shows that MVP, like, they don't have that much success running things that are outside of their normal heroes.
True, but at the same time, I kind of want to say, like, with
10
game one of
seconds
MVP
remaining.
versus Liquid, everything was going
Ehome's
really,
turn
really
to
well.
pick.
But they just took a
No, they
fight.
were just farming well.
Yeah, they were farming well, but then, like, what they did with it just didn't work. Like, they didn't have, like, the naturally aggressive heroes, which they have the momentum with. They find kills and everything just flows.
Against
for 'em.
Liquid, you always have to be able to win team fights, and they didn't have a way to win team fights, so
10
their draft was
seconds
inherently
remaining.
flawed, and I think it just wasn't up their alley.
5 seconds remaining.
Ehome needs something to round out their safe lane
Reserve
in the
time.
ice.
5
I
seconds
assume it's an ice hero. Yeah, so
MVP's
Anti-Mage is
turn
Heavy
to
farm.
pick.
the substitute for the Morphling and the Juggernaut. Yeah, the heavy farmer, and they have a very good 4-on-5 lineup. Like, they can definitely fight the Alchemist and the rest of MVP's heroes while Anti-Mage farms
10
up, and
seconds remaining.
Anti-Mage is not a BOT hero, so Keeper Light Recall even better.
You might be slightly concerned though
5
with both Ricky
seconds
and Nyx
remaining.
hunting the anti-mage. A good cloud, anti-mage won't be able to get away. You get Vendetta hits, stuns, mana burns.
Reserve time.
So it's not going to be the safest thing in the world for anti-mage just to slip around. So if Timber and Al can get to a point where they feel really confident, they'll be okay. And it's going to be a Lich. This is something which Liquid actually banned out against MVP Phoenix during the first series they played today. So MVP is going to drag the Lich in.
I'm looking at their lineup right now, and it's very, very defensive. We see them run Lich a fair amount, though, so that's not a huge surprise coming out from them. But this is an Alk lineup that they don't seem to run very often. I'm looking at their last 3 months, and they have only run Alk 4 times out of at least 30 games. And it seems to be okay for them. We'll see how they farm.
Yeah, I'm interested just how well the Nyx and Ricky go with their rotations. Like, if they can find
10
pickoffs and make
seconds
more
remaining.
space, the Timbersaw is going to bring the damage during the team fight.
5
I'm wondering if
seconds
Lich
remaining.
is really going to be that fantastic in this game.
I don't think you can get kills and expect to escape, though, versus the Kunkka.
Yeah, they definitely have to be strong enough to stand and fight.
So who's going to get the Blink Dagger burst?
Prepare
SK.
for battle.
All 11.
Thinking, yeah, that's...
That's a bit of a no-brainer.
Okay, which team will win?
You really want to go with Ehome. Like,
Yep.
Ehome look really, really good.
Top of the group?
Well, and their draft looks like it will back him up, but MVP could pull something out amazing. Total number of deaths by 25 minutes.
I'm going 16 to 25. It's an Alk versus Anti-Mage. But it's MVP.
I think you're still fine with 16 versus.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I would almost lean down towards 0 to 15.
Total number of tower kills. 6 to 10 is like almost always my prediction for that.
Oh.
Can't go wrong.
All right, let's go to the game. As what have we got as far as early warding goes? MVP wards inside the Ehome jungle, so
30 seconds to battle.
they're looking to keep tabs on, and they actually block up the pull point as well with this ward. Febby is that they have a sentry on Death Prophet. So potentially they could throw it down and kill him. If Febby walks up this hill and there's no way they will know.
Oh, they know.
Oh,
No.
they just body blocked?
Yeah, he's body blocked. Where's their sentry? Oh, he hasn't placed one yet. Maybe they're placing one at the rune.
Maybe they also didn't fully realize.
Oh, they have to know.
Well,
The battle
it was only a very
begins.
light touch. Febby, is he going to steal it? The Torrent's coming in. Febby will be sent up. And it is the Alchemist and the Death Prophet to take the rune. So they just use the Torrent as cover fire. So they both get the runes, and it looks like they didn't know. It was a very slight body block. So if they were looking elsewhere, they wouldn't have realized.
Maybe they just didn't think they had a good way to kill him. Spirit Siphon, is that enough?
There's your sentry. Hi, Febby. Spirit Siphon is now up, but Febby will get out of range of that sentry. He didn't actually bring any sentries with him, surprisingly.
But that one maneuver is going to make the wave in favor of Old Chicken.
That's something which Kyoto is trying to repair at the moment.
And Old 11 has his spawns blocked, but little does he know, or little does MVP know, that they were going to run an aggressive lane.
There they are. There's your mana leak. Lanham's going to start. Torrent as well. MP can't run out of it in range. He does have that reactive armor and Stout Shield. Try and protect him. And Dubu, he went sacrifice level 1. There was nothing he could do to help out Ehome. And Ehome take first blood on the bottom lane.
Ehome is really good with their laning configurations, though. Like, now, all that gold that MVP invested on the top line, they have 2 observers and 2 sentry wards. That is like 300 gold down the drain, and more importantly, vision that isn't going to protect MP in the safe lane as a Timbersaw. He's back to lane, but he's already at half HP. He's still level 1.
And then you still end up losing top lane to Ehome because Old 11, Caustic Finale is just such a beautiful thing that Forev can't even stay close. What's he going to do? Spike Carapace back the damage? That's not a viable option. So Old 11 just has a really good farm time here, and you're seeing what Forev's doing. Like, he has to walk over to the side shop and stay there. Wait for the creep wave to push underneath his tower and then go nuts.
He has to be a little bit careful because he's not topped up in his HP, but the point of a lich lane is to win your lanes. And if you lose this bottom lane, like if Ehome get 1 or 2 more kills, then I could see this going very heavily in Ehome's favor, at least in the first 15 minutes until Alchemist starts participating.
Dire's middle tower is under
That's the
attack.
second time we've seen Lanham do that. The Torrent cover fire to pick up the rune. Don't waste your time on detection up against a Ricky Mara. They want to keep the ward for the mid lane anyway. And guarantee a rune. This keeps Ricky at under level 2.
Radiant's
So
bottom
no
tower
smoke screen
is under
available
attack.
yet. No blink strike. Nothing on those lines. And on bottom lane, MP can't even harass Ice back. Like 1 point up in mana burn's enough to drop Timbersaw down to 0 mana. Looks like they're having a little bit of fun. Oh, Febby's still got to know that sentry's there. Okay, so we'll get rid of it. It's actually the Alchemist who got the extra gold from the last hit on that sentry.
Teams have been really good about dealing with Ricky and Bounty Hunter nowadays.
FB's dead again. Lanham, wow, he really waited on that Torrent. He could have gone for that instantly considering MP had no mana. So it's a guaranteed stun from Fenrir's mana leak.
Oh, and the Ice Armor early on the Lich. With level 2 reactive armor on Timbersaw, I don't actually think they can harass him out. He says sitting at a whopping 15 armor with 21 HP regen a second. And he is not phased.
Yeah? That's actually pretty good up against an aggro lane. The only issue is he's got no kill potential in it.
He's calling play. All he needs to do is farm and try and keep Ice out. What's the point of even having Whirling Death? He has no mana. I wonder if he'll go 1-1-3.
Still waiting for Febby to have some kind of crack here at Old 11, but it's an Alchemist to help him, so he can't really do much.
And Ricky, not the best hero to stack.
Is MP really just trying to zone out Ice
He can.
with just a brawler style?
Look, he's like not really taking that much damage.
Denied.
Well, it's working. Fresh Frost Armor every time from Dubu. He's always going to have the mana for it, and he's always going to keep denying, and denying creeps up against an aggro tri-lane. This lane's not going to keep working out. Like, there's not enough experience kicking into it for Ehome.
They need to keep their stacks up. But if they leave them alone, then this is going to happen. MP's going to zone them out.
They're going to try and kill Old Chicken. There's no concoction. You see a move like that, it's like a semi-body block because he took the rune from him.
But Fenrir has decided it's time to ditch.
Alright, he's going up for his farm. Luckily, that sentry's already gone. So he's got his camp that he can pull. This will change the equilibrium with this top lane, but it's like this top lane, Old 11, 26 for 7, up against a Nyx who was 13-1. This is not Ferev's lane at all. I mean, he's trying to spike Carapace back the damage from Caustic, and it's just no effect.
He missed it.
Looks
And
like
Ice is going to switch.
yeah, he's headed north.
Yeah, realizing it's way better to sack the Sand King. Sand King can catch up through kills. Anti-Mage just really needs that CS and Battle Fury up as soon as possible. Or Vanguard.
I suppose it's also an easier way to harass this Timber. Like if you got that much armor, what do? Bring magical damage to the lane.
Mm-hmm. Good lane call by Ehome. And I wonder if MVP are going to do the same thing. I doubt it. Let's see if they get the stack. Old 11 pulling it in on the bottom lane. Oh, they're actually going in. Epicenter on MP.
That damage should be enough, right? MP, he's so low. They're trying to hit him down. He actually has enough mana life regen. 14 reactive armor up. The stick charge is to help him out as well.
Yep, that third point really paying off, but now he can't really tank creeps to get his reactive armor stacks up. Maybe he'll go into the jungle to try and heal up a little bit.
Oh, that'll work. And what a great camp for him to find hill trolls. These things do almost no damage, so he's up to 14 stacks. Old 11's going to find it, but there's no mana on that Sand King to help him out. Dubu as well, you seem to be a long way out by yourself here. My Keeper of the Light's going to hit him with the Illuminate. Okay, that's a level 1, so there's no damage in that whatsoever.
And QO gets himself another bounty rune.
Who's really ahead here? I guess is Ehome ahead in gold. The experience is pretty tight, but that gold advantage doesn't really last long if Hero's got extra things to farm. There's no stacks inside the Radiant jungle. Just the one on the bottom lane, which Old 11 could probably even farm right now.
A lot of it is Febby always trying to make things happen in the early game and just not really getting his farm. Ice. Messing around with Forev a little bit. Forev already has his arcane boot, so Ice won't be completely free farming up here.
Still haven't felt that effect of Febby just yet. Like, he's been roaming around, but there's nothing for him to really look at either. Like, all the heroes from Ehome are staying pretty tight together.
Oh, Chicken pops his ultimate, goes on an MP, no Timber chain on Timber, so he can try and TP out, but...
Stick charges something to the trees.
That's a foregone conclusion.
Well, that was optimistic. It was worth a try. That actually gave a little bit of space to Old Lanham in the mid, because it's also giving space to QO to farm up. But your top CS belong to Ehome now.
And using the tail end of the DD and the Exorcism, it will try and get this bottom tower. Febby trying to leech experience, but it will do little in the way to stop them until Timbersaw comes.
He could technically smoke screen. Old Chicken's ulti just wore off, so MP's going to come back into the lane. There's just smoke screen in the back lines, but Old Chicken's colors 11. They move forward underneath the tower. So MVP thought the fight was going to happen a little bit further up the lane, but Ehome had a very different idea about it all.
You don't have reactive armor stacks, and you're up against all this magic damage. I was pretty surprised that he went up there, but maybe not expecting a turnaround for Ehome.
Probably thought the smoke screen might give him enough cover, do enough damage, you'd force him back.
It wasn't that well placed. Sand King was able to get the stun off nearly immediately.
That's why I thought, like, I think Febby believed Ehome was falling back.
Forev on the top lane gets stunned up due to mana leak.
I need more damage. Well, with the Frost Blast, I've actually dropped Ice down very low for Rev. Still fairly low himself. TP's going to come in from Febby. That was a very obvious TP as the trees broke in the vision of Ehome. Okay. And the Sentry Ward is down. He'll get rid of Ehome Sentry.
Well, so MVP are losing the early game XP despite having a Lich, and they're losing the net worth game with an Alk on their team.
Yeah, an Alk and a Lich on the team. That should go their way. Now Sentry's down. Febby completely out of mana. And hit by the Illuminate. Won't care much more. Is Old Chicken really trying to... He's trying to steal the stack of Alchemist. Well, that's not so easy.
Epi it.
Really? Oh, Spike Arab is up from Forev. Looks and actually gets a stun onto Old Chicken. Concoction helped finish the job. Forev was actually demanding the last hit. Now Old 11 into the epicenter. Once QO. Chemical Rage, 2 seconds off cooldown, but he's got the armor, toggling it up, and now the Chemical Rage goes to work. So Old 11, a nice time for a rotation, but not enough to find the kill of the Alchemist.
Second epicenter that we've seen used, but not enough follow-up damage. we haven't really seen too much from the Kunkka this game. A lot of him just trying to catch up on levels, and he is going for no X build, actually.
Really? That's kind of like the bread and butter of almost every single Kunkka. In fact, most people haven't even been leveling Tidebringer at all.
Curious choice.
I'm wondering if he's trying to cause issues for the Riki when he comes in close. Because that's probably the easiest way to inflict damage onto a Riki or a Lich.
Maybe he also thinks that they don't have that much damage output if anti-mage is going to be farming most of the time.
Radiant's middle
More
tower
bounty
is under
runes in for
attack.
QR, but Old Chicken
Radiant structures are
pushing to the tier
fortified.
1 tower.
Epi it!
11 comes over. He's not going to have it. It's a double black dragon only. And QR tries to retreat back up to the high ground. That sentry ward is down. Doesn't really block anything, however. It just looks for the Rikimaru. They will have a quick look and find Old Chicken. He's already backing up, so say goodbye to your sentry. And QR still got crap tons of money. I know this is an alchemist, so he's always going to have that much money, but with the armlet, he's a lot harder for Ehome to kill early on.
They need a combo better with Old 11. They're not really getting mileage out of this Sand King. He had that early safe lane start, went to the bottom. They did kill the Timbersaw twice and get the tower kill, but after that, you'd expect him to, you know, get a Blink Dagger pretty soon, maybe get his Aether Lens, pressure the Alchemist, steal some stacks, but they've been very hesitant to make moves until now. They're smoked.
Bum, bum, bum. Where? While they're smoking, like the only one is they're going to kill his MP.
He's important still. He's their position 1.
That
Kind of.
the Alchemist is their position 1 in this game. And he's going to Timber Chain and TP out. 11, able to get the stun off. He's going to go instantly into the Epi with the torrent. Epi's got nowhere to go apart from staying there, and they throw the ship at him. But at the same time, you're going to lose Fenrir in the mid. Febby ready to go. Concoction's going to connect. Okay.
He got mana leaked on the Alch, so he couldn't chase.
Problem. So they're also going to have some fun up on top lane. Ice. The Anti-Mage, probably not the happiest in the world. Still trying to build into this Battle Fury of his.
It might be too slow though compared to this Alchemist. Alchemist is going to have his Radiance in 2 minutes maybe?
That's because Alchemist hasn't really been contested all with the Ancient stack. Like, you bring in Ehome, and they got an Observer Ward back behind the tower, but nothing's blocked up his camp, so Kuro has been fine. In fact, he's been farming both of them through that small little path. He's taking out both the small camp as well as the Ancients at the same time.
Radiant's bottom tower
And now he even
is
drags
under
the creep
attack.
wave over to find the last hits there, even if he misses a couple.
Well, Old Chicken knows exactly what he's up to, but he doesn't really have the backup, and he suspects that they have a Sentry Ward up there. Exorcism up in 7 seconds. This may be the time that they're looking for to head up there.
He knows that Sentry's there because of the deep ward from before. But he's got no other choice.
Well, I'm really worried about Lich, considering his net worth is about 100 more than what you start with.
Radiant's
High five
bottom
prediction.
tower is
SK
under
Blink Dagger's
attack.
done. First one on the field, just under 13 minutes to reach it.
I'm a little bit scared for MVP. Unless QO can make miracles happen.
Radiant's
They've just been so
bottom
defensive
tower
about
is
it all.
under attack.
Like just ice armor up with the tower as well as the heroes. So one way to try and make it so Ehome's push isn't as quick, but with a double damage rune and still Exorcism available, 11, a Burrow Strike in, finds Febby, they trigger the dust, it does connect on the Riki, but he's already blink striked himself
Radiant's
away to
middle
Dubu
tower is under
into
attack.
relative safety. I say relative, Lanham, the Observer Ward sees all, Dubu's gonna get crushed.
Oh, he almost caught Febby too.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Febby
Radiant's
still
middle
needs some
tower
time to heal
is
up with the
falling.
Tranquil Boots. QO trying to do his farming rotation, but Fenrir will block that camp up yet again.
Finally, that's happened. It's actually the first one which is properly blocked. They've only had Vision Wards beforehand. Now Alchemist dragged back in. He does actually have his Chemical Rage up and running. The silence, nice from Old Chicken, making it hard to counter, but then comes MP, chains himself through, drags the Chakram as well. You've already lost 2 heroes from Ehome, but Old 11 capable of TPing out in time.
They did not have enough sentries there. Riki had cast.
Wait, they see Lanham. Can they reach him with the... If you stick charge into Chakrams, oh, he's got phase boots.
Nah.
The movement speed's too high.
The Riki had stopped the epicenter. He smoke cloud on top of him, and then because he has shift queued, he immediately blinked onto the Alchemist, but just not enough damage at this point in time, and just not being able to connect with the Sand King, who has had a Blink Dagger for quite some time. They were just super light on the sentries, and there's that Observer Ward that's still up, and there's that
They go
Riki
again.
that's allowed to roam free.
They go for MP. That's a lot of damage. The ship will finish the job. As you can say goodbye to a Timbersaw, but the Alchemist has his Radiance. Like, in the time it took for the Radiance to fly from home to where he is in the jungle, he's already got another 800 gold. It's a happy day if you're an Alchemist. Maybe not so happy with Ehome rotating into the Radiant jungle. Again, great warding from Ehome. They're looking at everything MVP is up to.
They need more burst to kill him, though. Oh, maybe they can do it right now. QO trying to be greedy, farming up. Su came to the middle.
He just triggered his Chemical Rage, however. This will be very difficult. Lanham gets the torrent off. Febby comes in as well. Smoke screen into the tricks of the trade. Old Chicken not having a great time, but the Concoction is going to fly out. Plus the Chain Frost to find the kill. Fenrir will create some space with the Blinding Light. But the Dire's Courier also flying at the same time. Blink away for Rev. Oh, he's got a nice bind for a stun. A double stun from him with the S spray down. Fenrir will drop. Lanham will join him as well in the grave. As MVP chasing down the extras of Ehome for a nice kill.
They're forcing so many heroes onto the Alchemist, and if you take the fight to the Alchemist, all of MVP are going to be there. So it's going to be 5-on-4 in MVP's favor, and you're going for Epicenter up top lane. MP going to take another spill.
Looked away at the wrong time for that one. Tipper chain down, however. MP on the run. Ice was not really ready to fight that one. He took a... Oh no! Sand King! The Chakram with the chain out, and then Duber brings a level 4 Frost Blast to it. Ice before they started that engagement, that's why I didn't think they'd really go for it. He took a whirling death and dropped down to about 20% of his life. If Farev hits that stun as well, Ice will be joining him in the graveyard.
Well, they do get a kill on the bottom lane, even without the help of the Exorcism. But losing the Sand King yet again.
Farev's going in. He really wanted Ice. Force us to blink into the eastern tree line. Febby was waiting for him to actually blink into the lane so then they could chase kill him.
Oh wow, the Blink Dagger are already up on the next assassin. He's 3-0-2.
Febby's coming.
He's almost the same net worth as the AM. It's crazy. Well, 1 mana burn, he does not have enough stick charges quite yet.
He's only got 2 of them. Dubu's just making a break for him. Into the tree line, up high, but then you cut a path.
Yeah, this tower is still alive and healthy.
No. They were really only looking for the kill, trying to force Ice off it, but he plays around it instead. That's Ehome. There's a Roshan for them. So Aegis the Immortal now into the hands of the hero who you normally don't want to have at Aegis the Immortal in the hands of, the Death Prophet.
Arcane Rune.
Then maybe you do want it in their hands.
I don't know what their plan is right now, though. I think they just have to accept the fact that Alchemist is going to get really big. I think they tried too many times and have failed too many times to stop him from farming, and now they will have to deal with the ramifications and gear up for the 40-minute plus game. They already had that in
That's
mind,
a very odd scan. They scanned in this region here, right in front of the town, when they have an observer ward just a little bit further away.
Maybe for Riki.
Possibly, yeah.
They had
Could have been that. Could have also been looking for smoked up heroes, because MVP have done exactly that. They smoke up, their observer ward is watching the movement of Ehome, so they know exactly where they're moving. And Febby, there's your jump, the first one, 11, and we get the double Fire Strike off, but Old Chicken takes so much damage. The Lich Chain Frost bounces down to old 11, so the Aegis Immortal triggered. You've already brought down the SK forever, a little too far away, but MP, that one tree was left standing, allowing him to chain forward, and now they can go after the Death Prophet. Spirit Strike will make this difficult. Is he going to trigger Exorcism? Yes, he will, but in comes QO, beating down on top of the Conquer. They've already managed to rip in a 2-for-2 trade-off, but Old Chicken, how much damage has he got? That's a level 2 Exorcism, so QO, not a healthy man. Blinding Light forcing it back, and QO will go down. Old Chicken try and play the Fog of War, missing the silence, but MP, he got himself caught on the hillside. He'll go down. A terrible, disastrous fight for MVP. Then Old Chicken gets to roll in the dough.
Let those Spirit Siphons roll.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Death Prophet, one of the best heroes at fighting without your carry. And they missed a fair amount of spells. Timbersaw, I think, missed his chain when he was trying to go for the finishing blow. The Alchemist Armlet toggle is very difficult
as well. The epicenter, the Spike Harpers went off. So at least he got to reflect a little bit of it, go into Vendetta. Sentry Ward down for the Dire side. 1 second to Burrow Strike, but it won't be required. Ice. A level 2 Mana Void already available. Finds that kill.
That was close.
And now is rapidly approaching his Vlads. Like 19 minutes in, you kind of have a great start for the Anti-Mage, but now Battle Fury done, fast farming for him. And the Nyx as well as Ricky will be very ineffective if they just try and gank him.
Well, after killing the Alchemist twice like that, I think you're in a decent spot as anti-mage. Well, my team just killed 4 of them. They took Roche without. They just got me a kill on the Nyx assassin that more than makes up. And now I think is when the Lich starts to be much less effective. Each night creep not really that important because now anti-mage can just head into the jungle.
You still need to keep this Alchemist under wraps though. Sitting at almost 15k net worth. Okay, now over 15k net worth thanks to one bounty rune. It's just the easiest farm. And this little path thing stacked, it's a small little path. It's so much for QO. Like they need to have some kind of obs board, but that's why the 2 sentries are down for MVP.
Yeah, they really need to stop them from farming this big old cash cow. MVP.
But how do you even stop it? Like, they don't really have a great invasive lineup unless they got their abilities up.
Maybe a deep ward to the south side?
That could work. At least see when he's doing it. But at this point, with Q almost practically all the time, he comes into the mid lane, goes up to the camp, goes to the mid lane, goes up to the camp.
Oh, they dropped the sentry ward. They will see the observer ward and ping it out, and they know that they're coming because they had to have smoke to drop it into this area. Someone
needs to get rid of it. Lanham, wow, okay, that's defensive. He uses X marks the spot to get rid of an observer ward, which is in his own lane between his own towers.
They know exactly where they were, though. That's a smart play. I like that.
By Carapace actually stunning up, will be enough. QO front lines, triggers the mana style. Chain Frost, very ineffective, only hitting onto it. In comes your representative from 11. It's going to be enough to catch out 2. Tricks the trade will slow down the fight for the Rikimaru, but already Old Chicken catching out 2. They need some kind of stun or disable for MP. Not available, but Old 11, he doesn't require one. Finding Febby, and will he have enough underneath with the dust on him? 11, where's the damage? And there it is. Smoke Screen will wear off. 3 heroes lost for MVP, and Ehome, even with an Alchemist having almost as much net worth as their 2 biggest cores combined, they are still taking these fights.
The Death Prophet is owning these fights. They cannot burst her down at all, especially with the BKB rush onto her. Like, they just really don't have that much to deal with BKB. Maybe Alchemist, but he went to magic damage build as well with the Radiance.
Radiant's bottom tower.
That is exactly the ward you were talking about. Just a little bit further to the south of the Ancients. Obs and Sentry down. It doesn't block, but at least lets them know what's going on.
It can set up a good epi for them into a ship. These are spells that need some time, and you want to cast them from the fog and catch the enemy by surprise. So maybe you'll catch them without his Chemical Rage up. Maybe you'll catch him with his armlet off. Maybe you'll catch Nyx assassin before he spike Carapace. Is very important for Ehome to catch them just a second before they're prepared. And yikes, this is looking very grim for MVP at the moment. And Ice hasn't even really started joining the fights yet. Still sitting at 1-0-1. Roshan gonna respawn in a few minutes. MVP need to pay careful heed not to hand another one over to Ehome.
Yeah, Ice doesn't need to join for another good 10 minutes if he wants to. This is an anti-mage that can continue to farm, and his teammates won't care. They're actually worried MVP was moving up on them. Ehome with a very defensive scan. Fenrir, might get a nice timing to snipe out a courier if the place is right. Is coming with a Bloodstone recipe, but the rest of Ehome are now on top of the Radiant Secret Shop, so there is no purchases that will be happening anytime soon. They put knobs on the other side of the hillside. In comes QO. 11. She's using his Burrow Strike a little bit early on the neutrals. Worried about what could be coming his way.
I'm just worried about these super poor MVP supports. You can't give an axe to Riki. If you give an axe to Litz, he's still not super effective. And all he's really offering at this point is Frost Armor because of the BKB.
The 2 biggest ones have got to be the Timbersaw as well as the Nyx Assassin. That at least will slow down with double chakrams as well as the Burrow ability. Ehome will have a hard time ending the game, at least.
Yeah, that's what he needs to be just for. I don't think he can pull Ags to these 2 heroes too, because he's still dying a lot in these teamfights. He's 1-3.
Ehome? An Observer will get a glimpse of MP? I think they realize where they're headed. It's up to the top lane. Kuro is currently bringing down that tower, so yep, Ehome coming in from the eastern side of the jungle.
Oh,
Kuro. His Chemical Rage has still got halfway through it, but it may not be enough. The Torrent's going to connect with the epicenter as well. They want all the damage, and they've got all the damage. Very late for the Chain Frost to do any kind of work, but the other 2 players of MVP can escape.
He just gives so much gold. Actually, he only gave 334 gold that time.
He's not
He
worth
gave like 600 last time he died.
Yeah, he's not worth that much
What do you
anymore.
mean? His net worth is incredibly high relative to everyone else's in this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't really seem to be helping.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you're actually behind in gold with Alchemist. That's unusual,
Yep.
to say the least.
Behind by, like, the whole team is behind by 4,000, but it's the experience. 10k advantage going the way of Ehome at the moment.
They lost their
Radiant's top
lanes
tower
a
is
little bit
under
too hard.
attack.
MP has just died way too many times, and he has a Bloodstone and a Cloak, but it's 25 minutes in. They need a secondary damage source aside from the Alchemist.
It's just crazy to say you lose your lane when you have, like a Lich in your lineup and you're running an Alchemist as well. Like, you should have so much more. For Rev, gonna go in, Fizz, know exactly where he's gonna come back to. Alt 11 triggers the BKB. Baby's on the front line to get the Spirit Siphon off, but the temporary wall's down. Bebby out of range, but in comes the ship. Bebby needs to bail out of here, but he can't.
Radiant's
He got
middle
trapped,
tower is falling.
crushed by the hull. Ehome has already taken out the tier 2 tower, so they got what they wanted. They took the tier 2 tower, and again, every single one of these fights has happened without Ice Ice Ice.
And now look at where he's farming. He's farming all up in the Radiant jungle, and MVP just do not have a hold on anywhere on this map. They have the Nexus and they have the Riki, but they can't kill anyone without Alchemist. And now they're even forced to more defensive items. A Hood of Defiance coming out from the Timbersaw. I'm worried for them.
Oh, it's a very well-founded worry.
On top of that, they have the boat. The boat is like just like, oh man. You have all these great burst abilities, Timbersaw, Nyx, Lich, but when you're talking about boat, like these heroes just don't die.
And we're talking about during the drafting phase, right? Like, Ehome's team fight is just so good. Like, low life, but high sustain. You bring in crap tons of physical damage, crap tons of magical damage. And even if this game turns into a split push kind of battle, you've then still got a Keeper of the Light who doesn't have an axe, but he could always just trigger the ulti, pull in a recoil, and bring in Ice 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 for the fight. So MVP can't even win on split push. So with the Alchemist build with Manta, he finishes up something like an Octarine, like, it still won't be enough.
I applaud MVP for trying out different strategies, but it's not.
It's not what everyone thought they were going to do coming into
But
Team
maybe that's
Fight.
exactly what they needed, right? But if they had won with it, they'd be like, wow, MVP can do a lot more than one thing.
Yeah.
But now it's like, maybe they should go back to doing the one thing that they were so good at.
Insane aggressive team fights before anyone realized that were going to come.
Yep, not 4 Protect 1.
Yep. I'll protect one. It's a little bit too 2000 and maybe 12.
And none of them are. They were protecting him very well in the first 15 minutes of the game, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, the Alchemist, I don't think Hugo has ever really felt that phased in the first, like, 10, 15 minutes at all. And then things just went wrong. Like, he has to join the fight.
I think any sort of death on Alchemist, though, is just... Like, if you die in the early game, that slows down your timing by, like, 1 or 2 minutes. And then if you die in later game, you have a ton of net worth. So you
Femi's
get
going to break the smoke.
Where's our gem? 11, why you
They
He turned around, though. Like, what are you scared about walking into, buddy?
It's that flinch, man. I see a snake on the ground. I have to jump.
Not the best use of the gem reveal, but still getting a kill out of it is better than nothing.
That's a lot of observables from Ehome. Now, like we said, like, they need to do something about watching the stacks, watching the farm of QO. They had like the Bermuda Triangle style of wards around that. They're going to lose one of them in 8 seconds. Actually, they're going to lose all 3 of them now. So they may have to repair that or replant the wards.
And now Roshan has respawned. It was almost a full 11-minute respawn for him. Old 11 kind of out in no man's land. MP and Dubu may be looking to get a kill on, but I don't think that's possible. 11's actually going to look for them.
Yeah, he's coming up. MP's getting out of here. He sandstorms up to start with. Dubu, they've already TP'd out. And it's Roshan for Ehome, so with the Exorcism.
And a DD. I don't think they needed the
Yeah,
exorcism because of that, but
It's actually
sorry.
This kind of delays their push, but he had an Arcane Rune on the Death Prophet. So, again, you just like, screw it. Cooldown's going to be really low. By the time the creep wave is ready to push into the base, you're going to have Exorcism back off cooldown.
MVP, probably one fight away from getting their base just blown wide open. I think Ehome, this is the time to fight. As you mentioned, the Arcane Rune, Death Prophet's ultimate going to cool down in just 1 minute's time. Anti-made with the BKB. Yeah, this is the time. I think they can end the game right now before Alchemist starts making their other teammates useful with the Ags upgrades.
Even if he doesn't, even if Ehome doesn't enter right now, they're still going to take at least 2 lanes of Rax when they push in.
They need to.
They've got the power for it. Still, I would kind of
power.
prefer, though, like, old 11 to have that Yule Scepter out of his stash and on him instead of a Quelling Blade.
Gotta get those D wards.
That would be a dream right now. Top lane, Ice. A little bit further up, Febby's actually watching him pretty closely. It's only Dubu and Febby, however. They cannot... Like, the only thing they could potentially do is stop the recall.
Yep. But they can just cast it again in 10 seconds.
Yep.
Especially if he chakras it. Well, we don't see the Spirit form just yet. Fenrir maybe looking to cast it come this next wave. There's Alchemist Illusion trying desperately to slow down their push just a little bit. But
What's that
Ice
courier up to?
is in deep.
It's the Ags. Q needs another 400 gold and he's got his Ag in him. He just will be buying an Ag. There is the pullback on Ice. So they're pushing in, but the Ag hasn't been purchased yet.
Yeah, they do not have that much time left, and they're not going to have that Ag Scepter before this fight.
He needs 200 gold. Now there's actually going to be no buyback for him. He's short by 500 to get the buyback. Ice is getting stunned up, but he doesn't really care that much, even sitting inside the Chakram. Primarily because he's got the Aegis the Immortal. And they go again. Exits from Old Chicken. Now halfway through his duration. That tower's pretty low as Ice jumps in once again. They're using X-Mark Spot to give him a couple of hits on the tower. The Aghanim Scepter is now purchased. Who's that on? Is it on the Nyx?
I don't know. Nyx already had the point booster.
He hasn't given it yet. It's coming on the courier.
Maybe Timber, I would say.
Timber looks like the best option, but Forev is standing right next to him, and yeah. They're going to give it to Forev.
I'm just saying that because he had the
point booster.
The point booster was like, now what is he going to do with that point booster? But they were about to lose the game, so.
Let's look at our other options. What do we got?
Timber Saw, I think, is really good.
You can buy Skadi or Bloodstone now.
Oh yeah. You can. Soul Booster, casual. Like Soul Booster's not that great anymore. Casual.
He can sell it and buy himself something nice.
Now he just needs the utility items, I believe.
But that's still like okay, so what really went down there? Ehome pushed in, they had, say, a little bit of a low, and the tier 3 tower took a little bit of damage.
They don't have sustain. They don't have the Ags up on Keeper, nor do they have an Urn. So they can't actually heal up from the spam from the Timbersaw the Nyx Assassin that we saw, and the spam's only going to get worse with the Ags Scepter.
All 11s. And there's no Observer Ward though for MVP, so they don't see Ehome moving around inside their own jungle. In fact, now bottom lane, MP well out of position. He's got 17 one charges. If he only has the time, he'll just deny himself. He won't battle with the one charges. He's got 18 seconds till he'll respawn, but in they come. No exorcism, 30 seconds on cooldown. Tricks to the trade, keeping the Rikimaru out of trouble forever. Okay, nice Burrow Strike from Mod 11, but there's no follow-up. This doesn't commit the epicenter. They're just saying hello, but not really doing much damage. Tier 3 tower will drop. Ice still has the Aegis of the Immortal.
They have to kill the Nyx. They realize that Nyx is actually a problem in these fights, and they pinged out on him, but Sand King has to be close by because he's the one holding the gem. Death Prophet just had a BKB out of stun mana burn combo from the Nyx Assassin to prevent herself from dying, and what do you know? Another arcane rune.
Life is a happy time if you're an old chicken.
Man, that's 2 in 4 minutes.
Not too shabby. Old 11 seeing QO. Ice actually farming right next to him. He could potentially prep an epicenter and jump down. With the gem, they also saw Febby, so Fire Strike, that's an easier kill. Instead of going for the Alchemist, they wait for someone who's a lot easier to knock off.
Well, they're actually going for the Alch, though, as you mentioned, and he is going to TP out. Will they get the stun in time?
Oh, need to see him. No vision. Vision.
That would have been very close to game ending right there. Kuo right in the perfect spot in that tree. It's a pretty unusual place to TP out of.
I'm a little surprised he didn't just trigger a mana style and try and play like a distraction game as well with the illusions.
You don't want to give away your position though, because Sand King would just stun through. He can judge by the distance of the 2 illusions about where your hero is, and then have to pull some incredible micro to disguise your position. So if it were not versus Sand King, I would say fine. But because it is versus Sand King, I think you don't risk it. It was a confidence play.
That range with Forev. There's high ground defense. If Alchemist can actually farm up the second Ags now, which he's got a fair chunk of the money for, and give that to the Timber Saw. I'm wondering how Ehome, in fact, take the base of MVP. Like, MVP will still have growth issues because the Aghanims upgrades is like down to just Lich. Like, stats for the Rikimaru is kind of like the only other thing that Ags upgrade will give.
You can BKB Siege. It's not ideal, but it might be what they need to do soon because I think the structural damage has to come.
The BKB just came up for QO, so he doesn't buy the Aghanims, he buys his own sustain during the fights.
And they don't have that much physical damage. I guess front them from Death Prophet.
They're coming out. Ehome just smoked themselves, and they're rotating to the north side. Radiant scan to the east, so they're looking for someone inside their own jungle, and they're going to find Ice on the bottom lane. The Observer Ward's being down. They should probably think something is awry. There's your jump. He misses the stun. Looking for another one. Ice to the corner. QO get a self-stun. BKB now being triggered from Ice. So an unsuccessful gank there from Ehome. They do burn a BKB charge.
Man,
that was
he
the 10-second one for Ice, but...
He blinked at exactly the right time and blinked the right way. And went the right way after he blinked. Like, there were so many small things that Ice had to do there to survive.
Double damage!
Oh, they're still so far ahead. 26,000 experience going to Ehome in 35 minutes. Just over 14 grand their way to.
They can still blow up the Death Prophet. She's not that tanky. Looks like she's actually going for Lincoln Sphere.
Okay, Lincoln's?
Yeah.
I was wondering if you actually get something like a Refresher Orb. If you don't have the sustain, you get the double Exorcism amount.
Might make her a little bit too squishy. I think like a Nyx combo can hurt her really badly. Oh, I think you go for Octarine now if you're Nyx, right?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, I think you go for Octarine because then you just have a lot of stuns and their BKB is going to be pretty low at some point. But MVP, they have to play the stall game.
I still just love the fact that we're StarCraft.
Lurkers.
Lurkers are everywhere. He should have a different animation though when he goes into the ground, instead of just being this little mound.
I would like to see his like claws peek up a little bit.
One like little periscope thing.
Yeah.
Like we now have Nyx Assassin. You'd think he's actually like subterranean, but really he's a submariner.
It's like insects use their like little feelers to sense what's going on around them. How does he see if he's underground?
Wait, you want to have like two little antlers?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Or you could have like vibrations in the ground. Like he just like lets out these ripple effects while he's in the deck.
Maybe they could make it more realistic and have him not be able to see anything.
He could actually what a blind Nyx.
Well, he's underground.
You have to rely on your friends to say, hey guys, you got a guy right in front of you. You should probably stun him.
It's the opposite of flying vision, Toby.
Or you
subterranean vision.
Okay, take this. Nyx is actually Ant-Man. He controls up ants and they can go in specific areas to give you vision.
Sounds a little bit like old Weaver with the Watchers.
A little bit.
Okay, well, they're heading around to the Roche, but Roche is actually respawned already. MVP will get a glimpse of this very soon.
The waves are out far enough, too, that Ehome won't instantly know.
The question is physical damage.
Yeah, that's the problem. Do they have enough to rip through it? Unless they were just thinking Ehome's going for it. I mean, BKB. It's QO. QO triggered his BKB. He meant to Manta style. And he's triggered his own BKB.
No one knows, though. And he has Octarine, so not the biggest loss in the world.
It's still one of those things. Like, that was your 10-second BKB. So there's no way they will contest Roshan now, if they were even thinking about it before. With the Observer Ward down, now they see Old 11 getting rid of the Obs Ward.
You know what they say, Toby?
What do they say?
Use it or lose it.
I thought they always say, like, always look on the bright side of life.
Use it or lose it. That is the bright side.
No one expects a smashing position. Our key weapon's a surprise. Surprise and vision.
Illusion.
Okay, now Anti-Mage is 5 slotted, I suppose. The Blads can be purchased by someone else. Still needs Moon Shard up. Still has BOTs to grow. Alchemist can kind of replace his Armlet for Satanic or something similar.
He's doing the Ags first.
Yeah, but Ags is not a side grade.
He's also flying the courier out to him right now, but he can't hold on to the Aghanim Scepter. He's also got no one to pass it on to anywhere else. Febby, oh, that was nice. He saw where the X-Mark spot was going to drag Old Lanham back, and then they hold him in position. Hold him, hold them. Now he burns the cheese. Glitch on to bounce back down again. The ship will fly, trying to get as much of the damage as possible. They burn the cheese for this, but support is rotating over. It looks like 11 and MP are also playing up at the tree line, but they go for more fights. It's Ice on the front lines. BKB will now trigger, and MVP have to bail out. This fight is in 3 different parts of the world, but it's about to merge into one big one. Forev back in this. The BKB is going to wear off. They see him. They torrent up the ground-dwelling creature. And then the smoke screen's not buying enough space for Forev. So he'll drop. But MVP get home at least. So now they'll buy back on the Nyx Assassin. They throw down the Chakrams, and they try and keep Ehome away from their dreaded towers.
She's worth it. I didn't expect their team to get there so fast, but Anti-Mage was already blinking over. Sand King with Aether Lens also can get there very, very quickly. And they don't have Exorcism for 30 seconds, but they still do have the Aegis of the Immortal, and that's for a good 3.5 minutes. Nyx is the highest priority. You kill her, or him, or debug it, you likely win the game right now, because he is their main base defender right now, and they need vision up there, but they do not have eyes on the sneaky lurker.
Not yet. Some time. Lanham has a bit of a guess, just follow the spike. Forev getting out here. Here comes that ship. They need a big kill spike. Carapace makes this very difficult for them. But Forev, he's trying to go back, and with the X-Mark spot, he will be back. But QO also isolated. Ice right on top of him. The torrent, he won't connect thanks to QO's BKB protecting him. But Ice as she starts a body block before attempting that mana break. He needs someone who's a little bit lower to get that spill damage out. And they may have enough. MP is down. Lanham jumps back in. He get a great double torrent. 11 Burrow strike in 1 second time. A quick suicide by Timbersaw. He's down for 36 seconds. No buyback available. And Ehome, remember what they came for, objective-based gaming. That ranks needs to fall.
Without Nyx, they should not really feel that threatened over here. They still have the Aegis on the Death Prophet too, and
maybe they should be grouped up, however. They say try and take the mid lane while Old Chicken lost his Exorcism and timed out. They find an opening epicenter, but QO just too quick. So on 11 wastes his ultimate.
Where was the follow-up torrent coming out from the Kunkka?
Not there.
That would have been a really important kill for them.
Nice Burrow strike though. They find Peppy. Into tricks of the trade.
Okay, now first member of MVP has respawned.
QO again!
Wow. He got to change his hotkeys.
He really does. At that time, it wasn't a hockey mix-up though, because he already triggered his mana star. So he did his BKB, but no one from Ehome was nearby. They were all just willing to bail out. That's going to be like, what, a 6-second BKB now with all those triggers? Yep, it's a 6-second BKB.
Clearly showing signs of some discomfort playing the Alchemist, or maybe just feeling the pressure of Ehome weighing down upon his shoulders.
Definitely feels like a hard game for MVP, and not just because of, like, being 20k net worth and almost 35,000 experience behind. There's just a lot of problems. MVP not feeling right, and he's just going for a straight Abyssal Blade.
Oh, now we're seeing
on this Alchemist.
Just seeing a Bloodthorn too coming out of Kunkka. I think the Bloodthorn's a really good solution for the Nyx Assassin. I'm so surprised that
the Burrow strike.
Oh,
Old Chicken's waiting for it. Like, Chemical Rage will wear off in a bit. The TP goes out, but then Yule steps her up. Fenrir is in the neighborhood as well. Start the mana leak. A BKB off from QO. The advantage of triggering us so much is down to 5 seconds. And a very low cooldown. The Dubu gets caught out, so they goodbye to Lich, and they get an X-Mark spot, dragging back QO. The Burrow strike tries to go through him, but the man style dodged it, but it's still not enough. You can say goodbye to your Alchemist. Buyback is available with Ice. He'll get the sun over on the Timbersaw. He's already triggered off his Abyssal Blade, but MP out of mana, almost out of life. Lamb's trying to finish the job. Old 11 on Mystic of Life. He went down to 18, 14 at one point, and it still wasn't enough to kill him. They just keep fighting, and Ehome, a team who didn't really have that much sustain, and just go from kill to kill, surviving these buybacks of MVP. Continue to go for objective-based gaming.
I really like the way Ice has been playing on the carry. He hasn't died yet this game, and he had a very tough early game, but dodging that one smoke gank and just playing pretty safely, not overcommitting for the racks, generally hitting buildings when presented the opportunity between that and chasing heroes. He's been just making very solid decisions on the carry. And his item choices too. It's standard, but no Vanguard early, for example, because he really needed to get his farm up. And just a lot of small things that he's been doing, going for the Vlad so they can make sure that they secure Roche. Helps a lot versus the acid spray. Good Abyssal usage. He focused the Nyx Assassin down in the last fight, realizing that he is the biggest threat.
MVP starting to have a couple of items which will help them with the next fight. Akuro gets the Abyssal Blade so they can lock down the Anti-Mage. You get a Yule Scepter over on the Rikimaru. It's his only item, really, of significant value, and that could just be enough to stop Old 11 from getting his ulti off. You keep the epicenter out of the fight. You keep somebody out of the fight.
They don't have enough damage though. You stop the epicenter. Ehome still has like an armlet Kunkka throwing out Tidebringers at you.
I'm not saying it's the dream scenario, but right now it looks like they're just trying to survive the fight. So you get Pipe and Blade Mail over on a Timbersaw. He just wants to live. Now QO being attacked. Size triggers the Abyssal Blade. A lot more supports on the way. It's the Fire Strike from Old 11. Now it's QO's time. He gets the bash on Size. He already used the Abyssal Blade, so they just try and brawl it out. The rest of MVP are on the way, and Size is very well aware of this. So they all disappear into the fog of war.
Don't fight without your BKB.
Goes for both of them. They're both at 5 seconds now? Yeah. They're both at 5 seconds.
I'm surprised he didn't go for Butterfly. I think Butterfly's a better choice than MKB in this particular situation, but I don't know. Smokescreen is very annoying to deal with. Oh?
Could always change. At this rate, the game could go a little bit longer because Ehome is being so defensive. 42,000 now is the lead in experience, almost 30 grand.
You see QO. QO does not have BKB up. He doesn't pop it off before the impale.
That means a lot of mana loss, and he's
game.
That's game. That's 100 seconds without an Alchemist, and he was your primary source of control and damage.
Well, Forev is sitting there behind the melee racks. Maybe he'll be able to do something, but as soon as they see those spikes out, I don't know if he's going to live. They see him.
And then Trish, you get a perfect double Burrow Strike from Old 11 too. You can force staff back in again, but this game is over. They're pushing him around, and Forev, he'll go down, bring in not even an epicenter. GG, well played. Game number 1 goes the way of Ehome in this 2-game series as MVP. They're feeling a little uncomfortable with a couple of their heroes, things not going as smoothly as they would like.
GG, well played, Ehome. Very consistent and not too many flaws in their gameplay overall, and sound game plans.
Yeah, even though it did feel a little like they could have struggled to get high ground if Ehome didn't have as many hiccups as they did. Ehome may have had a harder time ending this game. I say that when you're 45 minutes in as well.
But they didn't throw. I think this is a type of game that you could easily thrown as an Ehome. I wouldn't call it throw, it's just like fail high ground pushes, but like into an Ags Nyx Assassin, into like a Timbersaw with double shock rooms, like they could have easily gotten hit by multiple AoE spells and lose their death profit before BKB while her ultimate's up. Like there's so many small things that could have gone wrong for Ehome, but none of them didn't. And it seems boring. It's like, oh, okay, they waited until multiple ages, but they didn't mess up, and that is very commendable.
Yeah, I also kind of think that MVP couldn't force a mess up. Like everything was like, let's hold back. It's Acid Spray, it's Chakrams, we just wait till you come to us. What was a Ricky going to do? He walks in close and then he just gets evaporated. A Lich, there's nothing you can do. And you started with the Lich too. Their first 2 picks was Timbersaw as well as Lich.
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't it? It was
no. Timber and Ricky.
Sorry, Timber Ricky, sorry. Yeah, but like, what are you going to do with that? You're revealing your invis rotating here very early on. Ehome could plan for it.
It's usually because the QO is the one that forces the errors on the opposite team, and I think with the Alchemist, they did force the errors in the early game. They forced him to come to him, and then they all got wiped trying to kill the Alchemist. But later in the game, he wasn't able to do any such thing. So that will wrap up game number 1.
That it will, and we'll go into game number 2 after a short break. So grab yourself a beverage, and we'll see you back here soon.
I'll see that.
You also don't have connection. You won't have a refresh button if you don't have a connection.